The Texas House will gavel back into session to pass a GOP gerrymander that the party hopes will flip 5 House seats from blue to red. But for the second straight day, Democrats will block a vote by quite simply skipping it. And without enough Democrats in Austin, there will be no quorum and no vote. But if and when Texas Republicans manage to muscle through their new map, California Governor Gavin Newsom is warning he's ready to fight back.
Whatever they are doing will be neutered here in the state of California. He recognizes he's going to lose in the midterms, and we have the opportunity to de facto end the Trump presidency in less than 18 months. That's what's at stake, and that's why we're putting a stake in the ground. We're not drawing lines to draw lines. We're holding the line on democracy, on the rule of law.
And sources are telling me that Democrats think they can knock out 5 Republican incumbents in California if they draw the lines right. But it's a little more complicated than that. Democrats would actually need to change the law to give them that power. To discuss, I'm joined by former Congresswoman Katie Porter. She's a leading candidate to succeed Newsom in a crowded field to be the Golden State's next governor. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Absolutely.
So, is this the way you would handle this as governor, asking your state's voters to redraw the congressional map to help give you 5 more Democratic seats?
Well, I appreciate what Governor Newsom said. The people of California chose a particular approach to redistricting in a different world than we are facing right now. We are seeing Donald Trump engage in lawless activity, mass immigration raids, yanking away federal research funding. And so I think people feel like we have to fight fire with fire. And one thing I really appreciate about this that I want to emphasize is California's approach here is triggered if Texas makes the wrong decision. If Texas is going to choose to change the rules midstream, then California is simply responding to that.
So it sounds like
I think that this is a moment. This is a moment where I hear from Californians all the time as I'm running for governor. They want a fighter. They want someone who's going to stand up to Donald Trump and stand up to the Republican shenanigans.
So it sounds like you do support this plan by the governor.
I think that Trump and Texas Republicans are leaving us no choice. They are tinkering with the rules of our democracy.
So Congresswoman, there are already just 9 Republican House members from California. If your party gets its way, it would be just 4 Republicans and 48 Democrats. So is that really a fair representation in your state?
Well, let's be honest. Do you think that what Texas has, even right now, is a fair representation in Texas? And we have so many other states I could use as those examples. So we should have a national fair approach to this. That's why I supported H.R. 1, the For the People Act in Congress, why I fought for it. But we cannot allow Trump to rewrite the rules for his personal favor. This isn't about setting thoughtful national policy. That's not what Trump does, not in this context and not in any context. This is about being willing to game a system, to take advantage of the American people, to trample on what they want. And so I think that if Texas would like to have a nonpartisan independent redistricting commission, great. California will continue to do what we've done. Remember, what California is doing here is being triggered by Donald Trump's actions, by his deep unfairness and destruction of our democracy.
Congresswoman, you mentioned the For the People Act, which you voted for while you were in the House. That bill would actually ban partisan gerrymandering and actually ban mid-decade redistricting as well. And separately, you actually co-sponsored a bill to require states to establish independent redistricting commission. So, but now it sounds like now that you support with what the governor is talking about here and letting Democrats essentially redraw the maps to choose their voters, it sounds like you're reversing your position, are you not?
Not at all. Look, when I was in Congress, I was being asked as a legislator, what should our national policy be? And on that issue, I stand by the ideal way to approach this. The way that every state should be required by federal law to do this is to have a nonpartisan independent redistricting commission. That's what I voted for. That's what I support. If you're asking me what I think should be the law of the land today, my answer is exactly the same.
But I guess the
But
question,
that is not what we're
people would say, people would ask respectfully, people would say, aren't you abandoning your principles to win an election?
Not at all. I am trying to stand up for what is left of our democracy in a world in which Donald Trump is trying to game and cheat the system again and again. The people of California made a choice. I made a choice with H.R. 1 to support a system for the whole country. California made a choice trying to lead the way for our democracy. But if what we're going to see is other states change their rules, then California voters have an equal right to Texas to decide to change their rules. And that's what Newsom's talking about, giving California voters the opportunity to rethink how they want to do this in light of the unprecedented and deeply unfair world that we are in.
Congresswoman, the former governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is reportedly preparing to fight California Democrats on this. And as you know, he championed and oversaw the California ballot initiative establishing independent redistricting in 2008. A spokesman for him told Politico that California is on a, quote, race to the bottom by responding to Texas. Do you agree that? I know that you agree with what the governor, Gavin Newsom, is talking about here, but are you concerned that California may be in a race to the bottom here?
I think that the person who's at the bottom and keeps digging a deeper and deeper hole in which to chuck our democracy is Donald Trump. Remember, again, California's potential change is only triggered by what Texas decides to do. They can step back. They can stop this mid-decade redistricting. They can stop this unfair gerrymandering, and California will continue to be what we've always been, which is the tip of the spear, leading the way on best practices. It is absolutely fair to ask California voters what they want to do if they want to continue a policy they voted for back when Schwarzenegger was governor in light of the world we are in today. Democracy evolves, the world evolves, and voters are allowed, and I think it's appropriate actually, to put this question back in front of them.
Congresswoman, of course, you're hoping to lead the nation's most populous state and would be one of the top leaders in your party if you do win that race. But poll after poll shows your party, Democrats, at historic levels of disapproval from the American public. I'm wondering, why have voters lost trust in your party?
I think voters across the political spectrum want people who are straight shooters, who are honest about the challenges that we face and know what it's like to push a grocery cart, to pay that bill, to worry about the cost of childcare. I have been talking about economic issues, about how hard it is for families to make ends meet, and I do it from the very personal perspective of being a single mom of 3 kids who drives a minivan, who has to think about how I'm going to afford to repair it when it breaks down, as it currently is actually. So I think people want that kind of straight shooter truth telling. I don't think Democrats can rely on the same old people who have been in office for a long time or haven't run for office for several decades who are trying to get back into politics. The world has changed. People want a fighter. That's what I hear when I travel the state of California. That's what I hear when people comment on my social media. Katie Porter OC, they tell me, fight, see us, fight for us, understand what the challenges we are facing. And I think that's the brand of politics that let me flip this seat in Orange County in 2018, get reelected again and again in a tough seat. And it's the brand of politics that people want right now across the country. They want Democrats to elect leaders who are going to be tough and honest.
All right. Former Congressman Katie Porter, candidate for California governor, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.